But you know, it's hard for me to say a little bit more about myself because there's so many things. I am a serial entrepreneur. I own multiple different businesses. I have a coaching business and I also have a marketing agency. I've actually built and scaled 4 marketing agencies. I've coached more than 3,000 women all around the world. I've helped so many women to become millionaires and multimillionaires. With what you said with my podcast, Money in the Hands of Conscious Women, this is something that I advocate for. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a dreamer, and I constantly create, and I'm constantly on the next move and creating new things and expanding and looking for what is the next thing to change to help this world. I just want to be useful. I just want to be creating all the time. I want to expand my consciousness and the consciousness of people. I want to make more money so that I can contribute and live a better, more expensive, expansive and expensive life. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Oh,
That wasn't a mistake. That just came out. That's what it is. But this is in a nutshell what I do, some of the things that I do.
Thank you for sharing. And as you can see, or you can tell, like, I don't know if you're watching the recording or just listen to us, she has so many passions. And one of I forgot to mention that you are a reflector. If you guys know about human design or you're familiar with that, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm a manifestor, and I want to mention this because one of the things that she has as a mentor, I was working with her a couple of times back in the first time it was, I think, in 2022, and then
Yeah.
2023.
Yes.
So in both times that where our path we cross paths, she was able to allow me to reflect the things that I was just kind of hiding, kind of like still not fully owning. And I would love to just recognize that right away. Because you mentioned right now where you were saying you love to expand your consciousness, you love to help people, and really you help me a lot, I'm telling you, in both occasions. Like you, I want to mention this as well, like this is a really relaxed conversation. The back in 2022 and the 23 especially, I was really triggered, like you pushed me in a good way, and I was feeling like what does she want, but you helped me to understand who I was. Like you went deep, and you have this beautiful balance between you can be really sweet, really soft, but you don't actually, you can go really, really direct, no bullshit attitude. And I think that is a beautiful gift.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that and for voicing this out. And it was a pleasure to be with you in this journey. I think that the beauty is when you co-create with somebody. So it wasn't just me, it was us creating this together. And it wouldn't have been possible if you were not also actively participating in this. But I'm very happy that I was pushing your buttons. I would continue pushing them like this. I love that because I think that one of the greatest things that a mentor or a coach can do for somebody is to see their actual full potential and to hold a mirror against them and be like, this is who you really are behind the fear and the illusion and the doubt and the programming and the trauma and all of this. This is who you are, and this is how I see you. And to hold that vision for both of the sides, because when you grow, doesn't matter what you do, whether if it's in business, whether if it's health related, you sometimes you're so zoomed in into the things that you don't really see what's the potential and what's your capacity. But you do need that voice of somebody who unconditionally believes and tells you things straight in the face, obviously not being an asshole, but just being there and being like, this is how it is. Well, that's because, well, you said it, I'm a reflector, so that I have no choice. I reflect things, but also I come from the Balkans, and I think that's one of the reasons why we we get each other, because I think the Balkan women are the Latinas of Europe. We just have this shui shui energy, like we just have the zazazu in us, and
Really?
we are very upfront, just like Latinas. We are just like, that's it, get your shit together, but I love you, but
Yeah.
get your shit together, and I
I-
still love you.
Yeah, and I want to extend a little bit more here because you mentioned about mentorship, having someone that is not only giving you the strategies, which are really
Mhm.
important. At this point, I know they're really important, but also to hold you in this unconditional love and love, but not from a place of the toxicity. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
love from place of potential.
Mhm.
And one of the things that now and I wanted to mention when I was with you, like I felt like my nervous system was really calm. And right now it's
Yes.
calm and so relaxed where I can be me. And there's some
Yeah.
people that like, and I would love for you to mention a little bit more about this, right? When someone offer you a membership or like a one-on-one, you name it, and sometimes you feel like I have to do it because if no, I'm gonna miss out, or even the person is pushing you in the way of fearful, right? But with
Right.
you, I'm telling you, you're changing the industry and this and more things,
Oh,
right? Because
thank you.
when you offer something, you promote, it's like ah, it's like entering to this beautiful place where you are received and you are, well, guys,
Oh, you're gonna make me cry now.
I'm using my hands right now here, but for the
We're with open
I
hands,
don't want to see, right, but I'm putting my hands here, like
yeah,
imagine you enter with
like a
Ayo.
platter. Hmm.
She has different options and you can choose and you feel
Yeah.
so safe. My nervous system was really relaxed, calm. It was not like I get to, or she was pushing me. No, it was really like a beautiful dance, like a hell fucking just like and I remember you said one phrase back in 2022, like I was the right rip mango, like I'm a hell yes. And you make me feel that. And I think doing business in this way feels so fucking good. It's like
Yeah.
I think I sent you a message as well one of the times, like it feels so good even to pay you, like take my money
I
because
remember that. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just like, yeah, because it felt so like right and so good. Like your energies, your presence, and you make people feel safe. Well, I'm speaking for me, right? But you have thousands of clients.
Everybody else feels like that. To say
Right.
that.
Yeah. And let me tell you, because it is. I'm not the only one that's saying this, but it
I
feels
love that.
safe. You feel so beautiful, and I think you're changing, like I said before, this way of doing business. If you can just extend more about this topic about doing business and doing it from a place that feels really like a dance, beautiful.
Gosh, I love everything that you said, and I feel so flattered. I even have birds flying in front of my window. All the like, we created this
I
beautiful
have the music
space.
right here. Yeah.
Seriously, it's like a Disney movie, although I don't like Disney, but everything, even the birds are flying and you're saying these beautiful words. So thank you for these kind words. But for me, it's a priority how people experience me, because when you are having the type of business that I have, so I am a coach and an agency owner and a mentor as well. This is a very specific type of a business. I sell myself. So I'm not selling just a lip gloss, or I don't have an Airbnb or a hotel. Like I love all these businesses, but when you are selling you are the product, you are part of the experience. So you have to make the experience good. And I also want to say that yes, there are days when I feel a little bit off. I remember even once we had a session and I told you, I'm gonna cancel today because I'm very sick and I don't want to come to the call sick
Oh,
and
yeah.
give you the sick energy. So for me, it's very important that my energy is very high. People feel very good. People feel safe. That's the most important thing. One of the reasons why people feel safe in my presence is because I understand the psychology of women. So I've studied psychology a lot. I studied human behavior. I studied the female brain a lot. You will read that in my upcoming book, The Future of Business is Female. I speak a lot about the female brain. One of the main things for women is women have to feel safe. So
Yeah.
if you want women to have results in whatever it is, they have to have the sense of safety. And so that is a priority. And honestly, I feel that if I want to build a business, I want this to be a conscious business. That's why the podcast is called Money in the Hands of Conscious Women. I want to build a conscious business. I want to make money, but at the same time I want it to be good money. Like I have a program that's called Happy Money, and one of the core things in it is, as you said, I want to pay you and I feel good to pay you, so there isn't the shaky energy of, oh my gosh, what's going to happen, but the receiving is also happy. Like I get, like, people pay me and I feel good, because I have clients who stress out when they clients pay them, and they feel like, oh my gosh, they're going to expect so much. I don't know if I can do this, and I don't have that. So 2 years, I changed a lot of things in my business.
Yeah.
That's when we started actually our mentorship. I didn't want to have a business anymore that was making a lot of money, but I felt like shit. I wanted to feel good. I wanted people to feel good. I wanted to prioritize people feeling good in the business as much as I can. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, we're humans, and sometimes, in the human communications and relationships, there are situations, but I honestly don't have a client where there was a client drama. I've never had a request for a refund. I hope that I'm saying this in a good time, because I had a client who announced this on their social media, and she had a couple of clients who wanted a refund. But I've never had a refund request. I've never had somebody, you see, we're not working anymore, but we're friends. I'm friends with almost all of my clients.
Yeah.
Even the previous call that I had before this podcast was with a person who was my client for a year, and then she paused, and then she's now coming back, and we were friends for a full year. We
Yeah.
continued this. So for me, relationships, they are very important, and that's how women build businesses. So women want a business that is relationship based, with connections, with all of that. I'm building something different, and I'm playing a different game on this planet. That's how I feel. Like I want one day when I look back and I'm old and wrinkly, although that will never ever happen.
What
I
happened?
will
Like you
always
look like
say,
a 23 year young, like I'm telling you.
exactly, that's how old I am. I'm 23,
That's
always,
it.
forever
Yeah.
and ever.
Forever and
Always,
ever. Yeah.
forever and ever. Like, but honestly, now when I'm, ready to depart planet Earth, I want to look back and tell myself, I did a good job. I was an honest person. I was full of integrity. I embraced people. And I told people to fuck off when they had to fuck off. But people who were great people like you, they are in my soul. And our relationship is so beautiful, Grace, because you're also beautiful. I call you Graciela, but I call you Grace because for me, you're graceful. Like you're Grace. You have so much grace in you. We just vibe. We're just like soul sisters. And when you have clients like that, you reciprocate. You want to give them. That's
Yeah.
what I say to all. I'm very fortunate because all of my clients are like that since I made the pivot. Before that, I had clients who it just felt draining. I felt like they're using me, they're taking too much.
Mm,
And now I have people who I feel I want to give you more, because you not only pay me, but you're also a decent human being. You're a great human being. And so the reciprocity is just like, just take all of me. I love you. And that's a different kind of business. It
yeah.
feels different. It creates different results.
And it feels so right. I mean, the way that you describe it is like I said, it's a beautiful dance. It's a win-win situation. And one of the
Yeah.
things that when that it comes to mind when, well, so many beautiful experiences and words and phrases, but one of them is actually you care. You really
Yes,
care. It's not
I
like
do.
you paying me, like pay me and yeah, I'm your mentor, I'm you doing the thing. I can feel you.
Yeah.
Even if, like you said, you mentioned like you are well prepared, like you have thousands of the studies, like I don't know what I mentioned, the bachelors and all that, but I can tell that even with all that, I can feel you, the energy,
Yeah.
and you cannot cheat with the energy. I don't know if
Mhm. Yes, you
bring
can't
this,
cheat with your energy, correct?
and you can feel when someone cares, and when someone really is not only in love with her or his work, but also cares about like you having results, and for
Yeah.
the same reason she's able to redirect it direct you and redirect you as well. One of the things that I would love for you to mention, because when you did that pivot, you also like changed the boundaries, like who has
Mhm.
access to me, the days
Yeah.
that people can message me. If you can just share more about how you manage that, the boundaries and the standards in your business right now.
Yeah, so I used to be with very open boundaries a couple of years ago, but that was because I'm the kind of a person who's very respectful,
Yeah.
and I know how to approach people. And if I pay someone and use their services, I know how to behave. But there are people who don't know how to behave,
Yeah.
and not all of them do it intentionally. They just don't know, they just don't
Yeah.
know. Like sometimes I have clients who they just don't know, and then I explain to them and they're like, oh yeah, yeah, that makes total sense. But I had to do that first because when I have boundaries in the business, they are protecting me, but they're protecting the client as well. If you are running a business where it's service based and you don't have solid boundaries, people are going to start taking from you. You're going to start feeling resentful, but that is your fault. Like I remember going back to some um, partnerships or some clients that I had, and I love them. I'm still close with them, but I didn't have boundaries, and they took so much from me that at one point I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I start hating this, but it was my fault because I didn't set the boundaries. So
Mm,
you have to do that. You have to see what's good for you, what is nurturing your energy. When you're working with people, you have to, especially if you're a coach, mentor, like therapist, guide, these things where you really put a lot of effort in someone, a lot of your energy, you also absorb their energy. You need boundaries so that you can rest and you can show up more powerfully, because when you are overworked, when you're stressed, you start resenting your clients, you start resenting people, you start resenting the business.
yeah, that's
And
true.
then you're like, I hate the business, but it was you who didn't create the right boundaries. And women are really bad with boundaries.
Mm,
They don't want to be called a bitter Barbie. They're like, oh, I'm not gonna say no, I'm not gonna negotiate. There's a lot of stigma, there's a lot of stereotyping. So it's not just women, it's society also that influences women to have bad boundaries. If you look at the history of women as well, how we were treated, we basically didn't have any rights. So talking about boundaries, you can't have boundaries when you have zero rights, when you're not a free human being. But I think it's again, as you said, a dance. You have to find what works for you, explain it to people. People get it.
yeah.
I have not gotten a person where I tell them, this is how I work, these are my working hours, this is what you get. I have not gotten even one person who says,
No.
I don't like that. No, everybody, I even have people who are like, oh my gosh, I love this. And they start replicating it in their business.
No.
One of the first things that I do is if I work with coaches, therapists, like service-based clients, one of the first things is I relook at their boundaries. Like how many hours, how much are you charging? How often do you show up? I think that being constantly available is not good for anybody. It's not
Yeah.
good for you as the provider because for obvious reasons. It's not
Yeah.
good for business. Also, you're missing on quite a lot of money. But it's also not good for the other person because they become codependent. There's
That's
a very fine balance between being there, supporting, and then we have the holding hand, which is this is the crossing. So you
yeah.
have support. I'm walking shoulder to shoulder with you, and I'm there. Then we cross the line with I'm holding your hand. And
Yeah.
then we have next level, which is I'm breastfeeding you and burping you. Like now it's too far.
Yeah, I love that analogy. Yeah.
Like
Uh,
get my boob out of your mouth. You're a grown ass person. Go and make the decision yourself.
yeah.
And if you are constantly there, you're mothering them.
Yeah.
Adults don't need to be mothered. They need a partner, they need a guide. That's what they need. They need you to be the guide and they need you to be the partner. They don't need a mom.
Yeah.
Well, they might need a mom, but
No, you. No.
you can't adopt them. That's
Yeah, that is so lovely, and having that clarity first ourselves, like you said, that business is gonna reflect, and the clients are gonna reflect what is inside. So
yeah.
another
And
thing that
if you have, sorry to break your word, but if you have clients who are constantly, because I do have clients and their clients are crossing boundaries, then
Mm,
there has to be conversations, there has to be contracts, everything has to be like squeaky clean on a piece of paper. There has to be conversations, and if the person is not joining the party and they're still using you, then goodbye.
yeah,
Next.
that's that. I think, and as well, when you said that, having clear boundaries, having clear standards, also put you in another frequency of more
Yeah,
abundance, and different clients are attracted to you. Like I
of
think
course.
that's another situation. You
Yeah.
mentioned something about energy, and
Mhm.
when we work together, you did a emotional, how do they
The
call it?
emotion code.
Emotion code, and it was really amazing. Like, I would love for you to explain it just a little bit, because as you mentioned before, you are multifaceted, and yes, you are. Your business is really, I call it, and correct me if I'm wrong, a holistic approach. When
Yes.
someone come to you, you're not seeing just say what is the business strategy for your business. You see the woman, like, and I
The
really,
human behind the business.
yes.
Yeah. So the emotion code is a really interesting modality and a practice because it allows you to release trapped emotions. So humans operate heavily on emotions. We are emotional beings. People who think that we're rational, we're not. Men are not rational either. Women are not rational. Emotions are the brain's instantaneous reaction to our environment around us. So we have emotions and we have feelings. Feelings are the byproduct of an emotion. Emotion is instantaneous. It happens like a snap of fingers. You can feel an emotion. So, for example, I scare you and you feel scared. That's an
Yeah.
emotion. You can't block it. Like today, I was on the street and a cat literally, I don't know where it came from. It just came out of nowhere, like, ew, like super fast, and it jumped on me. I think they were chasing each other, and I jumped. So that's an emotion. You cannot, I can't be like, no, because it happens
It didn't happen,
instantaneously.
right? Yeah.
So that's an emotion. And sometimes we go through life experiences where, for different reasons, our bodies cannot process this emotion. It's very overwhelming.
Mm.
And there could be different reasons. So, for example, it could be really traumatic experience, or you could be your immune system is not as good, or you're going through a lot of stress, or it's a compound trauma. So something is rehappening. And just like the body, sometimes you go through the flu and you go 3 days and then you're fine, but then sometimes it catches you and it stays for like a month. You have this cold and you just can't get rid of it. So
Exactly.
emotions are similar, and you pile them in your body and they just compound and compound and compound. And every single emotion has a frequency. So anger has frequency. Probably you've seen somebody and you just feel something. Now, what you said, for example, well, I feel very relaxed around you. That's because I do a lot of work to balance myself. And you constantly like feel people around you, like this person has a certain vibe and that person has a certain vibe. When somebody's cranky and angry, you just feel their vibe. You're like, I don't like your
I'm like,
energy. So, for example, I don't even meet people and I'm like, I don't like this person's vibe. Like, for example, Andrew Tate. I've studied this human being who's so weird to me. Like, I'm trying to understand him, but every single time I'm getting this really bad vibe. And that's
yeah,
like an angry vibe. I'm getting angry
yeah,
around him. I'm like tense. I'm like this when I watch him. And then when I watch other people, I'm like Henry Cavill, for example. I watch him and I'm like relax. So it's the predominant
uh,
emotion that this person has.
yeah,
And so when we trap emotions, they get trapped in certain organs, even like you have certain organs and you trap emotions there. And I was going through a heartbreak a couple of years ago, and I felt very tired, very exhausted.
Mm,
Things in my life were just not as flowy. Like I'm a great saleswoman, to be honest with you. It comes naturally because I openly sell like with an open heart. But at
yeah.
that point, like my sales are, I'm very spoiled because I'm used to like 100% close rate when I have conversations. Like I close people all the time.
Yeah.
And that wasn't happening. And I was like,
Mm,
what? Am I broken? Like, what is happening here? And it continued happening and it continued, and again and again and again. And then somehow I ended up finding about the emotion code.
mm,
I did it, and I was releasing trapped emotion after trapped emotion. Like some emotions were when I was a child, I would
mm.
be so shocked. And I would go and ask my mom, Mom, did that really happen? Like I was 8 years old. Like my body shows up that I was 8 years old and this happened. Did it really happen? My mom will be like, oh yeah, you almost got hit by a truck. Yeah.
Your mom's like, what?
Yeah. And I was so shocked. I remember I had a client
Yeah.
and she came to me. She was so scared to show up and sell in her business, like terrified. She couldn't do it. She couldn't do
Mhm.
any lives. She couldn't nothing. She was just frozen. Every time she had to post something, she would just feel frozen. And we did a session and we found the trapped emotion of being shocked.
Mm,
And so we started thinking, okay, do you remember when this happened? We're seeing that it indicates that it happened when she was, I think, 21 years old. She's like, I don't remember. So I just married my husband, shocked. No, and we're just sitting there and we can't move because when you do the emotion code, there's certain routines and practices that you have to do, like you have a protocol,
okay.
and we can't move. And the body's like, no, you need to identify what happened. And we're just sitting like half an hour, and she's like, I don't remember. And then we sit, and she's like, I was 21 years old when I got shocked by the fridge. Electricity shocked her.
Oh my God.
When she opened the fridge, something happened, and the electricity shocked her, and it was so strong that she even peed herself. And she couldn't let go of the fridge, and it was shocking her. Like there was more electricity coming. I don't know what freak accident was it. And she got so scared that for a couple of days she couldn't even sleep. She couldn't function properly. And we found out and we released it, and she started showing up. She actually opened a new business. She went into photography. She started doing so many things. And so I feel the emotion code is a very potent
Cool.
practice to set us free because emotions keep us trapped and we don't understand because they are stored in the body, in the subconscious mind. It's not like your body's telling you,
This happened
I
on.
have layers of trapped anger when I was 6 years old.
Mm,
Some don't even remember it. We know that this is scientifically proved. This is not just some woo-woo. We have science backing up the fact that people trap emotions. We also have proof, scientific proof of inherited trauma, PTSD that is passed on generation to generation. So your great, 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 great mother who was in the Second World War was traumatized, and she passed it on in the DNA,
mm,
and you get it, and you carry it, and then you ask yourself, oh my gosh, why am I so? I had a client whose son was very angry, like a small child, 6, 7 years old, and he was horrible. And she was struggling so much with this child. He was just angry the whole time. And we did the emotion code and we released trapped emotions of being angry. She was being angry, and she trapped this emotion where she was giving birth to the child because the dad was not supporting, and she got angry at the dad. And
mm,
when we released it from her, the child changed and he wasn't angry anymore.
this is
So
powerful.
yeah. It's simple, but at the same time, it's not, because sometimes I have clients who come and their subconscious mind is not allowing us to release things because they're not ready. That rarely happens, but it has happened to me.
Yeah.
We can't do anything, and I can't push your subconscious mind to work with us if the subconscious mind doesn't want to. Maybe you need to do other things before that.
Yeah, and I really love this thing because you're incorporating, like I said before, this holistic approach. Because
Yeah.
sometimes we have the right tools, we do everything, but we don't know about this. And having you, it's just a gift. I'm telling you, like, and it was really a gift for me, like
Oh,
an amazing gift.
thank you.
What I would love for you, Ayo, before we close up our podcast today, I would love to ask you, and actually this question, and I'm asking this question to all of the guests, but you asked me this question back in 2022, in one of
Okay.
the classes that we have together. What is your superpower, Ayo?
What a fantastic question. My superpower
Yeah.
in this life as a human being is the ability to see people.
Mm.
I just see people, I feel them, and I reflect them. And because I see them, they can see themselves as well. I just see people, I feel, I get in them. It's really a unique superpower because it doesn't matter how close the person is, doesn't matter how guarded they are,
You see it.
and what mask there is, I can see it. And sometimes I do want to see the best in people, and that trips me. And I do see the great in them, and that leads to heartbreak because everybody's dual. Everybody has the other side of the coin. But I
Yeah.
think that's my superpower, just seeing people and just really getting them. Like I get
You,
people, and I think that's why you shared this, that you felt so safe, because when you are being seen, you're no longer pretending. You are safe to be you because you know the person sees you. I
yeah.
think that's my superpower. What do you think is my superpower?
Um, I think that is the same one that you said, that you cares. Like there's
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I've been working with other people, but excuse me here. But you, and actually want to mention this, and that's why I asked you this question before, because I don't know if I'm gonna get emotional, but last year you gave me one of the gifts that, like, even working with other people, with mentors, with you name it, you gave
Mm.
me this gift that back then I was not even knowing who I was, I was just I was really confused back then, but you gave me one piece, and it was that with you, you allowed me to see that I was looking to the back mirror. I was looking to the past. I was attaching the
Mhm.
past. And what I was looking for, it was for peace and freedom. And you gave me that because you said, who cares? Let that go. What was
Mhm.
is gone. And you gave me that peace, like that you gave me that gift of being me, feeling safe. And it's like it was like a permission slip to release the past. But I consciously, we know that consciously we can have all the information, but when you have someone, like you said, that sees you,
Yeah.
see the behind the mask, behind the character, or you name it, it's able to just make a little just tweak craft, and that it's unleashing everything. Even with this podcast, with the idea of the podcast was back when I was working with you,
It was
remember?
my idea. And when you said you're launching the podcast, I was like, hallelujah. Yes.
Yeah,
Ooh, I'm crying even now because I remember, yeah, I told you, do the podcast.
do the podcast, and I was just
And I wish my Spanish was so good, so we do it in Spanish. Like I was saying, we need to speak in Spanish
we need to do it in Spanish. Yeah,
for our Spanish embassy, you know, for all the amazing Spanish speaking people in this world to hear
yeah.
my. I thought you were going to say my superpower is my amazing Spanish.
You're amazing. It actually is the second superpower, you know.
Amazing Spanish learned from
Amazing
Narcos.
Spanish, yes, right.
Well, thank you so much. Your words, uh, they are like balm to my soul, music to my soul. I was listening to you and I was like, okay, now it makes sense why you're on planet Earth. You know, when I have these conversations with other human beings, behind the business, behind the money, behind the social media, behind everything, there is this.
Yeah.
When you make somebody feel like themselves, because life is hard for everybody, and we just need to care a little bit more about the other person and give a hand when somebody's going through something. Be like, take my hand, we will make it happen, instead of like pushing them over the edge and be like, fuck you. I don't want to be that person. I want to be the person who, when somebody's lost in the forest, I go and grab them by the hand and I'm like, don't worry, we're going to have fun, we're going to drink a lot of virgin pina coladas,
And let's do it.
all the
Yeah.
mangoes. It's gonna be fine. Just hold me by the hand. I got you. And I think that that is our superpower, to care about humans, care about each other more, because then we will not be alone. We are suffering from a loneliness pandemic because everybody is locked in the screen, and you're just like you and the screen, and that's your life. And we
More.
want to extend a hand to everybody and be like, hey, you want to go for a walk with me and be with me in this? I think this is the beauty of
But
being a human.
yeah, and I'm just gonna say thank you for being here, Ayo. It was a pleasure to have you here. And also, like, I want to finish this conversation with a phrase. I think it was a phrase that I sent to you, like every single one, and to the listeners, every single one of us, I'm not gonna say need, we must have an Ayo in our lives. I'm telling you, she's magic. She's the vibe.
I use your phrase everywhere. You were like, everybody needs to have a lion in their life. You're like the Smitsky who opens it all. And I was like, I need to put this in big letters everywhere. Genius. Thank you so much for gifting me with that phrase. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much for being you. You are an amazing woman, an amazing mother, an amazing Latina, an amazing human being, an amazing mentor and coach and support. You're one of a kind, and I love you. I appreciate you. And I hope that if people take one thing from this conversation, is to build more authentic relationships when they care.
Yeah.
They truly care.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to ask you, Ayo. Well, and I'm gonna put it in the description as well. Where we can find you and what are the ways that we can work with you? Like, because after this conversation, I bet that more than one I will say, like, I want to stalk her. I want to go what she's all about.
You can find me deep in your heart. Go deep and I will be there in your heart. But you can find me on social media, on Facebook as Ayo Nova, or you can find me on Instagram as, hopefully I haven't changed my Instagram handle, but this will be the Empire Circles. Connect with me, send me a message, say hi, don't be a stranger. And you can work with me so many beautiful ways depending on where you are in your business. I have one-on-one support, group coaching, I have mastermind, I have retreats, I have my agency. I have an abundance of ways that I can help you through a holistic way. So welcome, come in my world and come and play.
Yeah, love that. Thank you so much, Ayo.
Te amo.
We'll see you in the next. Thank you.